Good morning, students. Welcome to the class. Read the question. Number of pi bonds in naphthalene is. All of you know this is the structure of naphthalene. In this naphthalene, this is a pi bond, 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 this is a pi bond. So total 5 pi bonds are present in naphthalene. Next question. Which of the following is soluble in water? Ethyl alcohol is soluble in water. Why? Because means ethyl alcohol is going to contain OH group. This is able to form intermolecular hydrogen bondings with water. If any compound is able to form intermolecular hydrogen bondings with water, that is soluble in water. So the answer is B. Option B is your answer. Next question. Dipole moment is shown by. We know the geometrical isomers are classified into two types, cis isomers and trans isomers. Here you can see the cis isomers and trans isomers. Around the carbon, double bond carbon, on one side, if same type of atoms are present, here hydrogen atom, here hydrogen atom, same type of atoms around the carbon, double bond carbon, then that geometrical isomer is known as cis isomer. Here also, this is the carbon, double bond carbon. Around the carbon, double bond carbon, on one side, here CH3 is there, here also CH3 is there. So on same side, same type of groups are present around the carbon, double bond carbon. That geometrical isomer is known as a cis isomer. So in the case of cis isomers, dipole moment is not equal to 0. Whereas in the case of trans isomers, carbon, double bond carbon, opposite to the double bond carbons, same type of groups are present. CH3 is present here, CH3 is present here. Otherwise, hydrogen is present here. On opposite side, hydrogen is present. This type of geometrical isomer is called as trans isomer. In the case of trans isomers, dipole moment mu is equal to 0. See the question. Dipole moment is shown by. Very simple. Cis isomers can show dipole moment. So the answer is option B, cis 1,2 dichlorobenzene. Right? How to draw that cis 1,2 dichlorobenzene? That is cis 1,2 dichlorobenzene. First, you have to take benzene. This is a benzene. Okay, this is a benzene. Cis 1,2 dichlorobenzene. First position is with chlorine. Second position is with chlorine. And these two chlorine atoms are present on the same side of this double bond carbon. Then this is the cis 1,2 dichlorobenzene. Of course, here you have to understand a three-dimensional arrangement of the groups. Suppose here I'm taking the wedge bond. What is the wedge bond indicating? The bond is indicating that this atom is close towards a viewer. This atom is also close towards viewer. So this type of representation is known as cis 1,2 dichlorobenzene. My dear students, actually no need of this structure. Simple. By seeing the sound, by listening the sound cis, you can say that this compound is having some dipole moment. Mu is going to be not equal to 0. For this molecule, mu is not equal to 0. Okay. Next question. The electronegativities of fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine are 4.0, 3.0, 2.8, and 2.5 respectively. Hydrogen halide with a high percentage of ionic character is. Hydrogen halides. What are hydrogen halides? Hydrogen is bonded with a halogen. HX compounds are called as hydrogen halides. Instead of X, here you can take fluorine, then you can write a HF. Instead of this X, you can take chlorine, you can write HCl. Instead of this X, you can take bromine, then you can write HBr. Instead of this X, you can take iodine, then you can write Hi. So hydrogen halides are generally represented by HX. They are hydrogen fluoride, hydrogen chloride, hydrogen bromide, hydrogen iodide. Among all of these molecules, hydrogen is common, but the electronegative atoms are different. Here fluorine is there, here chlorine is there, here bromine is there, here iodine is there. And in the question, the electronegativity values of the halogen atoms are given. Fluorine with electronegativity 4.0, chlorine with electronegativity 3.0, bromine with electronegativity 2.8, iodine with electronegativity 2.5. In any molecule, between the two bonded atoms, if the electronegativity difference is more, then that molecule is going to be more ionic in nature. So here, fluorine is having more electronegativity. Hence, the electronegativity difference between hydrogen and fluorine is going to be maximum than with compared to remaining molecules given here. So we can say that HF is more ionic in nature, less covalent in nature. Next question. Which of the following does not contain coordinate bond? Does not contain coordinate bond. I am taking the option B, NH2 minus. Lewis dot structures can be represented like this. Hydrogen is bonded with nitrogen. That nitrogen is again bonded with one more hydrogen, having the total charge is minus. You know, nitrogen is the 15th group element. 15th group element valency must contain 5 electrons. See this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 electrons are there. Actually, here this 1 electron belongs to hydrogen, this 1 electron belongs to nitrogen. Here, this 1 electron belongs to hydrogen, this 1 electron belongs to nitrogen. So in this pair, 1 electron belongs to nitrogen. In this pair, 1 electron belongs to nitrogen. But this pair is completely belonging to nitrogen. This pair is completely belonging to nitrogen. Now, check how many electrons are there for nitrogen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 electron is additional. That's why the nitrogen is going to, this species is going to get a negative charge. So here, nowhere you can find the formation of coordinate covalent bond. So the answer is NH2 minus. NH2 minus ion is called as amide. All of you know sodamide. What is the formula of sodamide? What is the formula of sodamide? The formula of sodamide is Na plus NH2 minus sodamide. So from this NaNH2, by removing Na plus ions, you will get NH2 minus ion. That is called as amide ion. Amide ion does not contain coordinate covalent bonds. Next question. A square planar complex is formed by hybridization of which atomic orbitals? Square planar complex. Square planar complex indicating that the coordination number is 4. Here you can see the coordination number is 4. How to represent a square planar complex? Suppose if you take a species, suppose I'm going to take an element M, just it is a symbol, and it is bonded with some other element. Suppose here I'm going to take a A, here I'm going to take again B, here I'm going to take a C, here I'm going to take D. Which type of geometry it is? Square planar geometry. The geometry is square planar geometry. Here, what is the central atom? M. In the second year, you will study about coordination compounds. They're also called as complex compounds. There you can study about the formation of complex compounds. We'll study there. In simple, here the coordination number. The central atom is bonded with B. The central atom is bonded with A. The central atom is bonded with C. The central atom is bonded with D. So what is the coordination number of central atom? 4. So whenever the coordination number 4 is going to be there, and if the geometry is given as square planar, the hybridization is going to be DsP2. So if it is DsP2, the d orbital must be dx square y square orbital. You know, d orbitals are classified into different types: dxy orbital, dyz orbital, dxz orbital, dx square y square orbital, and dz square orbital. So in the case of square planar complexes, the hybridization is dsp2, where the d orbitals involving are dx square y square orbital. So your answer is yes. What is required? One s orbital is required. Two p orbitals are required. One d orbital is required. Which type of d orbital is required? Dx square y square orbital is required. See the option B. One s orbital is there. Two p orbitals, px orbital, py orbital is there, as well as dx square y square orbital. So this is the answer. Remember, square planar complexes, very important topic for second year syllabus. Square planar complexes, the orbitals involving in the hybridization are s orbital, px orbital, py orbital, and dx square y square orbital. Hybridization of the central atom is going to be dsp2. Next question. Which one of the following statement is true? Or which of the following statement is true? Yes, see the option C. Chemical bond formation takes place when force of attractions overcomes the force of repulsions. This is the correct statement. When the force of attractions overcomes the force of repulsions, then only new chemical bond is going to be formed. To understand this one, here I'm going to take an example: formation of H2 molecule, dihydrogen. Dihydrogen contain two hydrogen atoms. See this one, HA, hydrogen atom, and this is the nucleus of hydrogen atom. This is the valence electron of first hydrogen atom, EA, and this is the nucleus of second hydrogen atom, and it is the valence electron of that hydrogen atom. So between the nucleus to valence electron, there must be some attraction. This is the Wald attraction. Between this nucleus to this electron, some attraction will be there. That is Wald attraction. Yes, here is it given very clear? So whenever between nucleus to nucleus, one nucleus to other nucleus of hydrogen atoms, repulsions will be there. Between electron to electron, repulsions will be there. Whenever all the repulsive forces are going to be lesser than attractive forces, then only the chemical bond is going to be formed. So here the answer is given. The chemical bond formation takes place when force of attractions overcomes the force of repulsions. Next question. Number of sigma bonds in P4O10 is. Actually, P4O10, this will be studied in the second year, 15th group elements. The chapter is P block elements. There you will study. Just see this structure now. By drawing this structure, you can find this is a sigma bond, this is a sigma bond, this one is a sigma bond, all these are the sigma bonds. This is a pi bond, this is a sigma bond, this is a pi bond, this is a sigma bond, this is a pi bond, this is a sigma bond, this is a pi bond, this is a sigma bond. Of course, in these two bonds, any one bond can be taken as sigma bond, the other is taken as pi bond. Don't confuse. Here also same. One is the sigma, second one is the pi. One is the sigma, second one is the pi. One is the sigma, second one is the pi. So try to calculate how many sigma and pi bonds are present and try to answer it. Next question. In which of the following species the underlined carbon having sp3 hybridization? Underlined carbon having sp3 hybridization. sp3 hybridization means a saturated carbon. The carbon should be saturated carbon. If you go for option B, CH3, CH2OH, ethyl alcohol. Common name is ethyl alcohol. IUPAC name is ethanol. If I am going to expand this CH3, CH2OH, I can write CH3 as C single bond H, single bond H, single bond H, single bond. CH2 is represented as C single bond H, single bond H, single bond. OH is represented as single bond O, single bond H. So in this one, here you can see this carbon with all the sigma bonds. So this is the saturated carbon. Of course, here the underlined carbon is also this one. This is the underlined carbon. So the underlined carbon is in sp3 hybridization. So which type of carbons are in sp3 hybridizations? Saturated carbons. The saturated carbon atoms undergoes sp3 hybridization. The saturated carbon atoms undergoes sp3 hybridization. Is it clear? Next question. In XeF2, XeF4 and XeF6, the number of lone pairs of xenon is respectively. Actually, these are the xenon compounds. This will be studied in second year, group 18 elements. Of course, here some structures are given. Xenon difluoride, Xe, single bond fluorine, single bond fluorine. Here, xenon is having lone pairs, 1, 2, 3. So XeF2 is having 3 lone pairs. Xe, single bond fluorine, single bond fluorine, single bond fluorine, single bond fluorine. XeF4, xenon tetrafluoride. Here the central atom xenon is having 2 lone pairs. This is 1 lone pair. This is 1 lone pair. So XeF4 xenon tetrafluoride is having 2 lone pairs. Whereas XeF6 xenon hexafluoride, it is going to have sigma bond fluorine, 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 sigma bond fluorine. This is a lone pair. So XeF6, that is called as xenon hexafluoride. The central atom xenon is going to contain 1 lone pair. In the second year, we will discuss again about these compounds, fluorides of xenon. So what is your answer? XeF2 has 3 lone pairs in the valency shell of xenon. XeF4 has 2 lone pairs in the valency shell of xenon. XeF6 has 1 lone pair in the valency shell of xenon. So the answer is 3, 2, 1. Option D. Next question. The bond order of O2 plus is O2 plus. Before going to know the O2 plus, first I am writing the electronic configuration of O2 molecule, dioxygen molecule. According to molecular orbital theory, if I write the electronic configuration, that will be represented as sigma 1s2, sigma star 1s2, sigma 2s2, sigma star 2s2, sigma 2pz2, pi 2px2, pi 2py2, pi star 2px1, pi star 2py1, sigma star 2pz 0. This is about the electronic configuration of O2 molecule based on molecular orbital theory. From this O2, we have to remove one electron. Plus is indicating removal of electron. From where we have to remove the electron? From this anti-bonding molecular orbital, we are going to remove one electron. Then we will write pi star 2py0. Remaining is same. So the electronic configuration of O2 plus ion is sigma 1s2, sigma star 1s2, sigma 2s2, sigma star 2s2, sigma 2pz2, pi 2px2, pi 2py2, pi star 2px1, pi star 2py0, sigma star 2pz 0. Because from this orbital, anti-bonding molecular orbital, one electron is removed. Okay. Then you can calculate the bond order for O2 plus. The formula is half into number of bonding electrons minus number of anti-bonding electrons. That is equal to half into number of bonding electrons at 10. These two are the bonding electrons. 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 So total number of bonding electrons are 10. Anti-bonding electrons are 5. These two electrons are anti-bonding electrons. These two electrons are anti-bonding electrons. This one electron is the anti-bonding electron. So number of anti-bonding electrons are 5. So the answer is 2.5. Very simple. Just you can remember. No need to calculate every time. This is a constant value. The bond order in O2 plus is 2.5. Okay. Next question. Which of the following has zero dipole moment? Zero dipole moment. Already in the last class also I explained. Symmetrical molecules has zero dipole moment. SiF4 is a symmetrical molecule. It is tetrahedral geometry. So the tetrahedral geometry without lone pairs in the valency shell of central atom and having all the bond angles are same, that is leading to symmetry of the molecule. Symmetrical molecules are having zero dipole moment. The answer is option C, SiF4. Silicon tetrafluoride is a non-polar molecule. Dipole moment becomes equal to 0. Mu becomes equal to 0. Next question. The correct sequence of decrease in bond angles of the following hydrides. Here hydrides are given. Hydrides of 15th group elements are given. What are the 15th group elements? Nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony. These are the 15th group elements. In any group, from top to bottom, atomic size increases. Here I'm writing. Suppose this is the first atom, this is the second atom, this is the third atom, this is the fourth atom. In any group, from top to bottom, atomic radius, AR, atomic radius increases from top to bottom. In any group, from top to bottom, atomic radius get increases. As the atomic radius increases, the bond length get increases, the bond angles get decreases. So that's why among the hydrides of 15th group, that is ammonia, NH3, PH3, paspine, ASH3, arsine, SbH3, stibine. So this is the decreasing order of bond angles. Of course, in the second year, we will study about this one. Here you can see a table number 7.2 from your NCERT textbook. The chapter name is group 15 elements. Here you can observe physical properties, HEH angle. H stands for hydrogen, E stands for 15th group element, that is nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, and again hydrogen. So HEH bond angle is 107.8 degrees in the case of ammonia, 93.6 degrees in the case of paspine, 91.8 degrees in the case of arsine, 91.3 degrees in the case of stibine. So just by seeing these values, you can understand that the bond angles get decreases from ammonia to stibine. So the answer is NH3 is greater than, PH3 is greater than, SbH3 is, ASH3 is greater than SbH3. Once again, NH3 is greater than, PH3 is greater than, ASH3 is greater than SbH3. My dear students, the same concept will be repeated again in the second year. The chapter name is P block elements. The subchapter is group 15 elements. Next question. In OF2, number of bond pairs and lone pairs of electrons are respectively OF2. See this one, O, single bond F, single bond F. This is OF2. Fluorine belongs to 17th group element. Its valency contains 7 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 electrons. Here also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 electrons. Oxygen belongs to 16th group element. Its valency must contain 6 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this is the complete representation, Lewis dot representation of OF2 molecule. Now you can understand the question is, in OF2, number of bond pairs. This is one bond pair. This is one bond pair. So number of bond pairs are 2. Next, number of lone pairs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So number of lone pairs are 8. Number of bond pairs are 2. OF2. Again, this is also a standard question. No need to calculate anything. Just memory based questions. So you have to memorize so many things. You have to remember so many things in the chemistry. Then you will get a much more score in chemistry for your NEET and JEE examinations. So once again, in OF2, number of bond pairs are 2, number of lone pairs are 8. Option B is the answer. Next question. In NO3 minus ion, that is nitrate ion, number of bond pairs and lone pairs of electrons are respectively. Nitrate ion. Yes, you studied about the Lewis dot structure of nitrate ion. This is the Lewis dot structure of nitrate ion. Nitrogen is bonded with the oxygen through a single bond. Then this single bonded oxygen is going to contain 3 lone pairs. The single bonded oxygen contains 3 lone pairs. Double bonded oxygen contains 2 lone pairs. Again, single bonded oxygen contains 3 lone pairs. Then total charge is given as -1 because here NO3 minus is given. Now, what is asked? Number of bond pairs and number of lone pairs. Number of bonds 1, 2, 3, 4. So number of bond pairs are 4. So no more option is there further. So simply you can take option D. Of course, you have to check for number of lone pairs. In case, then you can count 1 lone pair, second lone pair, third lone pair, fourth lone pair, fifth lone pair, sixth lone pair, seventh lone pair, eighth lone pair. So don't waste your time by counting all these things. Simply by seeing a number of bond pairs as 4, no other option is there. So simply you can choose option D is the correct answer. Next question. Which of the following has p pi d pi bonding. P pi d pi bonding. If you take the option B, SO3 2 minus sulfite ion, the SO3 2 minus ion is called as sulfite ion. In the case of sulfite ion, the central atom is sulfur. Here I am taking the central atom sulfur. Atomic number is 16. Electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p4. This is the electronic configuration in the ground state. But if you take the second excited state electronic configuration of sulfur, then you can write the electronic configuration as 3s1, 3p3, 3d2. So all the free electrons are available in the second excited state of sulfur. Among these 6 unpaired electrons of sulfur in the second excited state, this one, and this one, these 3 unpaired electrons involved in the sigma bond formation. This one, and this one, these 3 unpaired electrons of sulfur involved in pi bond formation with oxygen atoms to give SO3 2 minus. See this one here, p electron of sulfur is involving in the pi bond formation, as well as d electrons of sulfur are involving in the pi bond formation. So p pi d pi bonding is possible only in the case of sulfite ion among these options. Why? Because means nitrogen does not contain d orbitals, boron does not contain d orbitals, carbon does not contain d orbitals, sulfur contains d orbitals. So instead of knowing all these things, instead of doing all these practice, just simply by going through the atoms given, nitrogen atom, boron atom, carbon atom, and sulfur atom, only the sulfur atom is going to contain d orbitals. So simply you can choose the option B. Next question. Sulfuric acid provides a simple example of sulfuric acid. What is the formula of sulfuric acid? H2SO4. That is sulfur, double bond oxygen, single bond OH, single bond OH. Otherwise, the double bond oxygen can also be written as dative bond oxygen. Here also, the double bond oxygen can also be written as dative bond oxygen. Dative bond is nothing but a coordinate covalent bond. Here, this is a coordinate covalent bond. This is a coordinate covalent bond. So, sulfuric acid provides a simple example of coordinate bonds. Next question. A lone pair of electrons in an atom implies lone pair of electrons in an atom. I'm taking the water molecule, oxygen, single bond hydrogen, single bond hydrogen. This pair is called as bond pair. This pair is called as bond pair. This pair is called as lone pair. This pair is called as lone pair. Lone pair means the pair of electrons which are not participating, not involving in the bond formation. Once again, the lone pair of electrons means the pair of electrons which are not participating in the chemical bond formation is the lone pair of electrons. So the question is, a lone pair of electrons in an atom implies a pair of valence electrons not involved in the bonding. The answer is option D. Next question. Chemical bond implies. Just now we discussed what the chemical bond implies. Breaking of old bonds and formation of new bonds. That means first we have to overcome the repulsive forces. So there is a attraction as well as repulsion that should be balanced at a particular distance. Then only we can get the chemical bond, or we can form the chemical bond. Next question. Covalent compounds have low melting points because covalent compounds, very simple discrete molecule, that is dihydrogen, H2. Dihydrogen, the formula is H2. If I take a hydrogen gas in a cylinder, hydrogen gas in a cylinder that contains so many number of molecules, all those molecules are present in gaseous state. Gases contain low melting points and boiling points. Why? Why? Because means between the molecules of gas, we can observe the presence of weak van der Waals forces of attractions. So why? Because means between one H2 molecule to another H2 molecule, there is no bonding is there. Only weak van der Waals force of attractions are there. So the covalent compounds are going to have low melting points because of weak van der Waals force of attractions are going to arise between the molecules. Next question. The number of sigma and pi bonds present in pent 4-ene 1-ine is. Root word is pent. I'm taking 5 carbons. Carbon 1, carbon 2, carbon 3, carbon 4, carbon 5. I'm giving the numbering: first carbon, second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon, fifth carbon. 1-ine is indicating triple bond is present at first carbon. 4-ene is indicating double bond is present at fourth carbon. So this is the complete expansion of a pent 4-ene 1-ine. So now just by seeing this one, you can calculate a number of sigma bonds and pi bonds. So that is all about MCQs from chemical bonding and molecular structure.